Hayden came in, and he was like still completely brainstorming, and it was a little bit like, okay. And he brought his girlfriend, Mariah, and some background is Hayden does awesome 3D animation. He does all these robotic things, and so he's drawn to the cityscape stuff. But we have done in the past a robot head, monk head, and so I think I know it was his girlfriend Mariah who goes, "What about like a robot hand holding up the table?" And it's like, and everybody just went, And what was cool about that, and cool about working with Hayden and Mariah, is if we were a bunch of ego-driven people, we wouldn't even have let her speak, and we wouldn't have listened. But because we're not, and we're open to good ideas wherever they come from, nobody sort of owns the rights to good ideas, that her idea was accepted, and then it was the best idea. And then Hayden and I were like, oh, I guess that's it. And so we went, maybe this should be a robot that was actually born, that was created by the same creator that created everything else, but he created a robot. So rather than a man making a robot, God made this robot. And so what would that look like? And so, okay, yeah, and so we're like, this hand can't be so, hardcore geometrical. It has to be in a metal, but it has to look like it's more like a human hand or animal hand, or right, like something that is organic. So, because both Hayden and I really like to explore and see how things are made, and I think people in general are curious. And there's the thing we were trying to capture was this idea of, we see the flesh of the robot hand, but also the tendons of the robot hand, and then also the inside workings of the robot hand. That's kind of like the idea, like, and that felt really like a fun challenge. You just got to get to it. You just got to start doing it, and using a bunch of levels, and like looking at it, and then thinking through it. And again, I sort of knew how to do it theoretically, and this comes from years of just doing stuff that I'm like, okay, I know how to do this. When we got the glass in, putting it on the table for the first time, I was like, because the glass, what it does, senses some sort of order, and it like brings this peace. and so with the hand, the hand was cool by itself, but once that other element of glass came in, it's like, that's how it's meant to be. And that's something in art that I heard a long time ago, is one way to look at it is you want to create something that looks like it always was supposed to be that way. It's just like, that's how it's supposed to be.